from Marietta, Georgia, at 225 pounds, Brad Armstrong. Your referee is Nick Patrick.
Chick Donovan, the golden boy from California. Well, Tom Pritchard, we welcome you here to the microphone tonight, and I know you're very familiar with both of these wrestlers. Chick Donovan against Brad Armstrong. What would be your immediate comments about this match?
Well, Jim, you know, I've had the opportunity to wrestle both of these men, and Chick Donovan is from California. He likes to be called the Golden Boy, and he got that reputation by putting glitter all over his body before his match, coming out, and that's how people started relating to that and call himself the Golden Boy. And he'll come at you any way he can. He's a very unorthodox wrestler. He can hit you with a punch, an elbow, and you never know where it's coming from. Brad, on the other hand, he's a very well-educated wrestler. His father was a wrestler, and he's been wrestling all his life. Both these men are very, very well-educated in their moves and holds, and this should be a very interesting match to watch for sure.
Both rugged battlers. That was Tom Pritchard from Houston, Texas, one of our favorite wrestlers in the area, helping us with the commentary here tonight as we watch Chick Donovan from Warner Robins, Georgia, and California against Brad Armstrong from Marietta. And there's Donovan. He's got Armstrong pinned against the ropes as referee Nick Patrick steps in and breaks them up. Both wrestlers in tip-top condition. And Tom, I know that you have to be in excellent condition to be a professional wrestler because it's brutal, the pounding that you take from start to finish.
Most definitely. You know, both of these guys, as you can see by their physical development, resort to weight training and a lot of things like this. Some of the guys, I for one, like the isometrics, and the more of the wrestling training. Now, right there, Brad had demonstrated his wrestling background by that leg trip, a beautiful leg trip at that, but Donovan chose the ropes to get out of that. But conditioning is the most important thing, whether it's with weight training or whether it's isometrics or whatever you choose to do. And both of these men work out daily very hard in the gym.
Well, Tom, I was talking to you before the match. I would have guessed your weight in civilian clothes at about 185. Here you weigh about 215. So it's difficult to tell the weight of a wrestler because he is so compact and he uses those weights and the isometrics and he builds his body, and it's deceiving how a wrestler looks. You never know how much he weighs.
Well, exactly, you know, and I myself would be classified as a junior heavyweight, and both of these men in the ring here, even though they're about 220, 225, they would be classified as junior heavyweights. When you get people like the Superstar or Super Destroyer or the Iron Sheik, Ivan Koloff, these are the actual heavyweights in the game, whereas we would have to compete as junior heavyweights, but also we have to go in there with the heavyweight contenders. But I'm actually classified as a junior heavyweight, as are these two men in there. And these are two very fine junior heavyweights in the country today. And Brad just demonstrated why he is the NWA Rookie of the Year by reversing that arm twist right there.
A real test of strength here between two men, program weights of 225, Chick Donovan and Brad Armstrong. And in the early going, it's been Brad Armstrong. And Donovan holding on to that injured left wing, taking quite a bit of verbal abuse from those here at ringside. Tom, I'd say that Donovan is not the popular favorite here in this match.
You've pretty well summed that up. You know, Donovan, he has the ability to wrestle. There's no doubt about it. The man's been to California. He's been to Tennessee. He's been around for a little bit, but you know, he chooses his ways, his cockiness in the ring. I guess doesn't set well with the fans here. But the man definitely, don't sell him short by any means, because he definitely has the ability and has the power to wrestle and get in there. Right now, though, it looks like Brad's intimidating him just a little by working on that arm, and Donovan doesn't want any part of him right now.
Well, Brad Armstrong, of course, would like to get another arm lock, and there's one being applied by Chick Donovan. Here's another test of strength. Both wrestlers, as we mentioned, at 225 in our programs tonight. Chick Donovan and Brad Armstrong. And Donovan coming up with quite a strain on his left arm, but you'd never know it now. He's got Armstrong in an arm lock. And as you can tell from the grimace on the face of Brad Armstrong, that hurts more than a little bit. Right, Tom?
Most definitely. You know, a wrestler will use this hold. This is a top wrist lock, or a Japanese wrist lock is also called. And he'll use this hold to try and wear his opponent down, not necessarily to make him give up. This isn't a submission hold, although sometimes it could be. It could relate on that. But Brad's going back in a bridge, which is a very smart move on his part. And he's going back in a very well-executed bridge right now on his neck. And yes, he's coming back up. This demonstrating the strength right here that Brad Armstrong has. And that's what's got him rated as a top wrestler, one of the top wrestlers in the country today. Just taking him down like right there. That shows the ability and the training that he had to go through.
An excellent reverse there by Brad Armstrong, who came out of that Japanese wrist lock. Now he's protesting to referee Nick Patrick. Patrick, the fans say, unjustly accusing Brad Armstrong of an illegal tactic. And Donovan coming in saying that accusing Armstrong of pulling his hair. Of course, the fans don't like that a little bit. Do fans have an awful lot to do with, say, the outcome of wrestling? Can they, I know they intimidate one wrestler or another, but do they have much to do with how a referee makes his decision, Tom, would you say?
Well, to be honest with you, Jim, the referee is in there to do one job and one job only, and that's to keep order in the ring. A lot of times, by the way, that was a very beautiful fireman's carriage demonstrated by Chick Donovan, but a lot of times the fans will tell the referee something that the other wrestler did, and it's hard for him to see in the ring. The fans are sitting on a different level than the referee is. And a lot of times they'll start yelling and start raising a little cane, and the referee doesn't have the power just because the fans say that one wrestler pulled his hair, or one wrestler did this, or one wrestler did that. He's in there for one purpose only, and not to listen to anybody else but his own views.
Well, Brad Armstrong has his ire up right now. He took Chick Donovan down with a fine arm drag. And now Brad Armstrong has got his dander up, and Chick Donovan wants no part of it. Takes a hard right hand to the midsection, and again as he's backed up against the turnbuckles. There's an arm drag by Brad Armstrong, and down hard goes Chick Donovan.
Very good deal on the part of Brad Armstrong. He's got that fire and that determination coming at him right now. Chick Donovan doesn't want any part of it, and he just got a boot right in the shoulder because of that. And Brad Armstrong seems to be taking over right now. And he could throw a fantastic punch for one. And Brad, if you've noticed, in the last year alone, since becoming the NWA Rookie of the Year, has well, that was just an eye or a thumb caught in the eye right there by Brad Armstrong. But he's becoming more and more. Well, what can I say? He has that fire that he needs to have in professional wrestling, and just this past year, he's gotten more and more of it. And, he's coming along very, very well. But right now, Chick Donovan took advantage of a situation in that corner, stuck a thumb in the eye, which, by the way, is illegal. But the referee has to see it. There has to be no doubt about it. And obviously there was. Otherwise, Chick would have been rendered a warning.
Well, there goes Donovan down on a count of one quickly. Nick Patrick has had to admonish Chick Donovan 3 times here in the opening minutes. And now here's Armstrong once again with the advantage, and a heavy arm lock here on Chick Donovan. Armstrong wanting to come in for the kill here. Donovan rising to his feet. Referee Nick Patrick moving in for a closer look now.
If you notice, I'm sorry, if you notice, Brad went into the ropes. Chick threw him in for an elbow. Brad was smart enough to duck. He was thinking on his feet, smart enough to duck the elbow, came back with a beautiful cross body block and followed up with a sensational arm drag, and he's holding on to that arm with an arm bar right now. And Chick tried to get him up for that body slam, but lost his balance, and Brad held on to that arm with tenaciousness, I guess, and is really showing Chick Donovan some wrestling holds right here that I don't think he's seen in a long time.
Well, Donovan's left arm has been hurting since we started. Armstrong has certainly been working on that left wing of Chick Donovan. Here again, both wrestlers at center ring, and a headlock being applied by Armstrong. Referee Nick Patrick keeping his eyes very close on the action here. And Donovan, of course, has been accusing of Armstrong of pulling on the hair. And Donovan now pulling on the hair. Of course, that was outside the vision of the referee, Nick Patrick.
You know, Jim, I've got to say one thing about Nick Patrick. He referees all over the state of Georgia, and this is probably the hotbed of professional wrestling today, and to even get an official's license in Georgia, you have to be qualified above all others. And Nick Patrick does a very fine job of refereeing, not only here in Columbus, Georgia, but all over the state of Georgia. And he's one of the top-ranked NWA referees, officials in the country today. And I think he does a very, very fine job. And a lot of people don't give him that credit, but he does deserve it. And he's been commended many times, not just once, but many, many times by the National Wrestling Alliance officials, and he does a tremendous job.
There goes Brad Armstrong into the ropes, taking a big duck as Donovan. Coming off the ropes into the waiting arms of Donovan is Armstrong, but it's Donovan who goes down. Armstrong atop, a headlock and a body slam. And there was a count of 2 quickly on Brad Armstrong. And again a count of 2 for you with that right shoulder. That was very close, not once but twice for Brad Armstrong. Almost over there, Tom.
Well, if you noticed, we couldn't see it on our side, but obviously Nick Patrick could. The man, Donovan, was trying to pin him by holding his tights, and when Nick saw it, immediately pushed Brad back over in the offensive position. And Donovan is on his back right now with that, or rather, Brad is holding that side headlock very well, and he might be going for a pinning combination right here. But Donovan kicked out. Again, Brad knows a good hold when he has it. He tried to wear him down earlier in the match with the arm bar, and he went right back for that headlock. A lot of times, again, this hold is not generally a submission hold, but if you squeeze it hard enough, hold it long enough, it can cut off the air, the blood supply to the man's brain, and cause some dizziness, maybe even cause him to pass out. But Brad has a very good side headlock on him right now, and Chick's doing just about everything he can to get out of it. Or maybe he's contemplating something to get out of it right now. Good forearm to the back. Here comes Brad. Good leapfrog, drop kick, and he should follow it with that side headlock, right? No, arm drag. Very good on the part of Brad Armstrong. Goes right back to the head. Arm dragged his man and went right back for that head.
Tom, does there come a time in a match when you have to have your second wind?
Most definitely, most definitely. You know, you can go full speed all during the match, but at the same time, you get blown up, and kicks to the back or kicks to the kidneys like that don't help you one bit. And you do get your second win a lot of times in matches. Sometimes you don't. But it takes a lot out of you during the match to keep going and doing these different holds. And
oh, there's a terrific body slam by Donovan. I'd say Brad Armstrong is in trouble. There's a count of 1. It's 2, but Armstrong kicks out. And again, we'll start all over again. Took a lot of strength there for Armstrong to break that one, because he's definitely in difficulty, Tom.
Most definitely, and that backbreaker didn't help us cause any. That's a 2 count there, and it almost was a 3. Almost was a 3. Came very, very close. And they only have 3 minutes, both of these men, to get a pin. A good second effort by Brad right there with a punch, but not enough to stop Chick Donovan all the way. Good flying mirror. And Chick goes in for a leg scissors on the side, and he's finishing up, or trying to follow up with a front chin lock, a reverse chin lock, excuse me. A leg scissors, squeezing the air out of your midsection like that, and also blocking the breathing with that reverse chin lock on Brad Armstrong. We'll have to wait and see what he can do here.
Well, could this be a submission hold? The referee, Nick Patrick, looking in and asking Armstrong if he'll submit. Of course, Armstrong trying everything he can tell right now, using all the knowledge of the wrestling science to try and break this hold by Donovan. And it looks low. Brad Armstrong did break the hold, came up with a knee into the head of Donovan, and he's out if he can escape. Armstrong still groggy, takes a pounding on that back, comes back with a hard forearm to the back of Chick Donovan. And they just exchange blows. A hard right to the midsection by Armstrong. Donovan being admonished by Nick Patrick, the referee again, ignores the referee. And he's holding on to the trunks of Brad Armstrong, but it backfired. Donovan goes to the back.
Beautiful suplex by Brad Armstrong. Donovan went to suplex Brad. Brad stuck to his guns there, came back down, and if you notice, Brad's bleeding a little bit from the eye there. A little bit of blood trickling down, but Brad stuck to his guns, and he's a little fired up right now. He's ready to get Donovan. He gave him that suplex. He's coming up now, getting that second wind you were talking about earlier. And Brad Armstrong is definitely famous for that. He knows how to do it. And he's getting a little bit hot right now. He's pounding Donovan in the corner, but this could get him disqualified, too. This could get him disqualified, and he doesn't want to do that. That's a sign of a good pro is to get his man. He only has 1 minute, and there was a knee. And that could have been his mistake right there. Could have been Brad Armstrong's downfall.
Well, Brad Armstrong's in trouble again. Donovan goes into the rope, but misses. Misses with that, trying to make a body slam.
Misses with that guillotine drop there. And that could be Chick Donovan's mistake because Brad is, Brad's eye looks bad, but
Donovan slammed hard into the turnbuckles that time by Armstrong. Brad's trying to come in for the kill. Time is almost out.
Time, yeah, that's right. But Brad is coming back. He's trying to get a pin. Reverse, good reverse by Donovan. He's going up for that. Beautiful, beautiful cross body block. And that's it. Beautiful.
A count of 3 by referee Nick Patrick, and Brad Armstrong has come on here in the final minute to defeat Chick Donovan. A very brutal and rugged match. Well, Donovan's still trying to regain his composure to find out what happened here. Armstrong just came on all of a sudden, Tom. What a finish.
Brad Armstrong is probably, I said it before, I'll say it again, one of the top wrestlers in the country today. That cross body block off the second rope, it was tremendous, fantastic, and it just pulled out another win for him here at Columbus tonight.
So, to the dismay of Chick Donovan, the victory tonight goes to Brad Armstrong in that 15-minute fall. And we'll be back with our second match.
The second event of the evening, one fall, 15-minute time limit. Introducing from Albany, Georgia, at 228 pounds, Dale Veazey. His opponent from Mission, Texas, weighing in at 234 pounds, Tito Santana. Your referee is Nick Patrick.
You don't smell good.
Tito Santana, the fine young wrestler from Mission, Texas, at 234 pounds, against Dale Veazey from nearby Albany, Georgia. The referee, Nick Patrick, and we're about set to go. What can you tell us about these two wrestlers, Tom?
Well, you know, I think everybody has seen Tito Santana in the past couple of weeks here in Columbus, but the man has a reputation worldwide. When I first met him, I met him in Houston, Texas. He came down for a 3-day tournament in which he won, by the way. He defeated, I think, over 22 wrestlers over the weekend. And he's a sensational wrestler. He's been all over the country, in New York, former WWF Tag Team Champion, been in Minnesota, and now he's making his mark here in Georgia. Dale Veazey, as you just saw, he has a knowledge of amateur wrestling, and he's from right here in Albany, or from right here in Georgia. From Albany, Georgia. He's been wrestling, I believe, just a little more than a year. He's come a long way, and he's going to have his hands full with Tito Santana, that's for sure. But the man works out hard on the weights, as you can see. He's been in a couple powerlifting contests, and he has a good amateur background behind him. You should see some holds that you haven't seen in quite a while. In fact, right there, we're seeing a hammer lock, and they just went through a series of reversals, and Tito tried to reverse again, but he came up with a top wrist lock. And this should be a very scientific match, and we should see a lot of wrestling holds here.
Well, those who appreciate wrestling, even amateur wrestling, should certainly enjoy this match. A lot of science here being used by Tito Santana, young Dale Veazey from Albany, Georgia. Santana, very popular in the area, very fine-looking athlete. And as Tom mentioned, a veteran. Even though he doesn't look like one, looks to be comparatively young compared to most veteran wrestlers.
Exactly. Even though Tito, like you said, has been around, good side takeover from the headlock from Dale Veazey, and Tito just countered with a scissor hold to the head. Dale kicked out, but Tito came right back up with a front face lock. But Tito has been around, I guess, 6 or 7 years, and he knows the stuff in the ring. But he played pro football for a couple of years with the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's making his mark now in professional wrestling. And Dale was going right back for that side headlock, take over again. Tito this time didn't get that scissor lock, but Dale is holding on to that side headlock, and this might do him good for the rest of the match.
Tom, something that wrestling fans have asked me, and I know you can answer. Does it make any deal of difference? Is there any, do you enjoy wrestling a man who has a beard?
Well, you know, that's a very good point you brought up there, because a lot of times a man with a beard is a disadvantage. Of course, this may sound a little bit silly, but
it can be pulled, can't it?
Exactly. That's just what I was going to get at. Sometimes a beard is fair game. I've seen a lot of people such as Ivan Koloff with a beard and no hair. When the man pulls your hair and you get a little bit sick and tired of it, pull his beard. But at the same time, when you have a headlock on someone with a beard, it depends how far along it is. There again, he can rub up against your stomach, rub up against your legs, things like this, and that burns. But I don't think Del Vizi or Tito's going to have any trouble with Del Vizi on that count.
Well, as you can see, Dale Vizi has a very handsome and a very full beard. And he also has a headlock on Tito Santana. Santana mainly get to his feet, trying to break this hold now. There goes Vizi into the ropes, and there goes Santana to the mat. Oh, beautiful arm drag there by Tito Santana. And a flying headlock by Vizi, and again he has the advantage on Santana.
Jim, I don't mean to correct you. That was a hip toss right off the ropes there, and a very beautifully executed hip toss by Tito Santana. But as you notice, Dale was a little bit quicker that time, and this is where size comes in a factor. Not that Tito is not a slow man by any means, but for his size, Dale got up just a little bit quicker that time, countered with that headlock, and he's got the hold once again. But both of these men are very, very agile, very, very quick in the ring, as I think we'll see during this match. Now, Tito coming up with that top wrist lock again, using his strength to take Dell over, and using it to good use. He's coming up with a version of his arm bar now, and Tito has good control of it right now, and he's going to make his bid to take control now, I believe.
Santana applying a lot of pressure on that arm. Both athletes on their feet, and there goes Vizi again on his back. Must be very painful, Tom.
Exactly. You know, a lot of people don't understand that mat. It doesn't have that much padding on it. You know, it's nothing but boards and maybe a couple underlaying pieces of rug or canvas under it. And when you get slammed on there, it takes quite a lot out of you. And this is here comes Tito coming at us off the ropes. Beautiful tackle by Tito Santana. And another sensational arm drag. Beautiful arm drag. And he follows up with an arm bar. And he's going to try and wear his man down the best way he can here. And it looks like he's going to go to that arm, putting the knee on the head right there, yanking back up on the arm, getting the pressure. This gives a lot of advantage to the man with the hold, who's Tito Santana right now. Now, Dale going for a body slam, but Tito's holding on to that hold. He slipped out just a minute, but Tito went right back for the arm. He's holding on to it good right now. Del Vizi, he's going to have to think a little bit to get out of this. Now, sometimes a man, when he's in a hold like this, he has time to think, has time to figure out what his next move is going to be, but he better do it quick, otherwise that arm may not be with him any longer.
Tom, did you notice this match started out as a very gentlemanly, very scientific match, but now it's getting more rugged, more intense as it gets along. You watch the expression of the two wrestlers, a lot of pain there, a lot of just intense fortitude, I guess you'd call it, and what was a gentlemanly match is now turning into be, I'd say there's some bad feelings.
Well, you know, I've seen, I think it's the spirit of competition more or less right now. If you can just notice the sweat dripping off both men, they're barely 5 minutes into the match. You can see how hard they're going at it. Now for Del Vizi to get a win over someone like Tito Santana, if you can imagine, that would shoot him right up to the top right now in Georgia Championship Wrestling standards. Now Tito, on the other hand, has to know that his reputation is on the line. He's not going to take this man lightly by any means. If you just look at the physique, and he's hungry. Del Vizi is hungry, and Tito knows that. He's going to be very careful with this man. He's going to wrestle him as best as he can, but they're going to go and they're going to wrestle hard.
Nick Patrick, the referee, looking on, observing very cautiously the move being applied here by Santana. Vizi, of course, still holding on with that headlock. Santana trying to make his escape. And I noticed the fans here at ringside not making a lot of noise. Watching this action very intently. Oh, look at Vizi with that fine move. What do you call that, Tom?
Fantastic sunset flip right there. It was Del Vizi all the way. Tito thought he was going to counter with something, and Del went for that headlock this time. But this time, Tito got his legs under there, and he got that leg scissors on the head of Del Vizi. Now, Dale's been doing pretty good during this match so far, but Tito looks like he's coming along right now. You know, someone like Tito Santana, you can't take lightly for one bit. You can't take your eyes off him. You can't take anything away from him. Now, Dale, very good move on Dale's part. He spread those legs apart when trying to get back for the side headlock, but Tito is showing why he is one of the top-rated wrestlers in the country today for a championship shot by getting back that head scissor.
Veazey trying to get out of that scissors. Veazey broke it, but Santana right back trying to get the pin now. Got a count of 2, and that's about all.
Well, if you notice, Dale was trying to break that hold, but Tito just bounced him on the top of his head that time on the canvas. But now Tito's going back for the arm, as he went to earlier. And Del Veazey's going to have to think about another strategy in this match because, you know, he's in there with a seasoned veteran, as you said before, and he's got to do something to pull this match out.
Well, the longer, Tom, that someone applies pressure, let's say, for example, on that left arm, the longer the pressure is applied, the more intense it's applied, the longer it takes for the aches and pains to wear off. Am I right?
Exactly. And like I said, a lot of men will use this hold just to wear down his opponent and get him a little tired, and exactly what Tito's trying to do. But Dale shot him off the rope. Beautiful body tackle by Tito Santana. Here goes a scoop slam by Dale Veazey. Beautiful scoop slam. Fantastic scoop slam. Comes for that guillotine drop right across the chest. Now, that is a legal move. That is a legal move right there. He got a 2 count on Tito Santana, which is very good for Del Veazey. Very good. Goes back to that side headlock. This time, Tito, if you notice, blocked him. He blocked him from taking him down, but Dale still has that side headlock. Tito shoots him off, drops down for a double knockout. Both men, if you notice, as they came off the ropes, Tito, both of their heads hit. They might have hit on the chin. Dale's looked like he hit on Tito's chin. Knocked both men down. Looks like Tito might be coming up first. Referee has a count going on right now. Bad position for both men.
Both are up, both missed, and again, both are very hurt. Both extremely dazed as they missed their flying drop kick. And I imagine that does hurt a great deal, Tom Pritchard.
Well, you know, right there, both of them could have been injured very, very seriously. If you noticed, legs going up there in the air like that could have hit anything. But this is like Tito's coming up first. Reverse hip toss by Del Veazey. Very good move. And he's going in for a count again. And he gets a 1 count this time on Tito. But Dale's going back. Tito lifting that leg for a leg breaker. This is Tito Santana's hold. Reverse leg lock. Goes back for the pin. He's got it. He's got it. Very good. Indian Deathlock.
The Indian Deathlock, Tom Pritchard called it, and Tito Santana has defeated the newcomer from Albany, Georgia, Doug Veazey, who put up, Dale Veazey, I should say, who put up a magnificent fight here as the referee, Nick Patrick, raises the arm in victory for Tito Santana. And there's a match, Tom, that the fans certainly enjoyed, I enjoyed, and it should raise the name of Dale Veazey into some kind of esteem for the fans who are watching here.
Most definitely. Dale has nothing at all to be ashamed of. He was in there with Tito Santana, and as we said all through the match, Tito's a seasoned veteran, and showing it right there, a sign of good sportsmanship, showing the kind of man and kind of wrestler Tito is, telling Dale he enjoyed the match too, I'm sure. And Dale shows that he is going to be contended with from years to come, that's for sure.
So Dale Veazey making his inaugural bout here in the auditorium, putting up a sensational battle against Tito Santana before Santana finally wins. And of course the fans were very thrilled tonight by the performance of both wrestlers.
Intermission?
Looks like it hurt a lot.
Yes.
Letters right in this, you know, so you can get a match with me, with Paul Orndorff. I really...
Going against a very popular cousins, Tommy Wildfire Rich and Johnny Rich, the pair from Nashville. And Ivan Koloff has a chain. This promises to have a lot of action, and probably just about any kind of action you can imagine. Listen at the fans. They like, of course, the cousins from Nashville, Tommy Wildfire Rich and Johnny Rich, as the Iron Sheik scoffs his robe, as does the Russian Ivan Koloff.
Well, you know what? As I said, it's going to be a little bit hard for me to be impartial towards this match. This guy Koloff and this guy Sheik, I've had just a little bit enough of them for right now. Ivan Koloff, for one, I have no respect for the man whatsoever. Everywhere he ever goes, he carries a chain in the ring. And right now, I believe this is the first time, by the way, that Tommy and Johnny have ever teamed up together, and this should be a fantastic match. And Tommy on the back of his back there. This could be it. This could be it, Jim, right there. But it's not. Good. Only a 2 count. Only a 2 count for the Russian Bear. Now Johnny has got the tag. He could make it. No. Rip across the eyes. Johnny Rich is in some serious trouble right now. They're working on that back. They know they've got him hurt. They know they've got him stunned, but he's not gonna be content to just lay there. He's gonna fight back. He's got that fighting spirit in him. He's gonna kick. He's gonna punch. He can do anything he can to fight back. Good punch by Johnny Rich. Good punch. And another forearm. Beautiful forearm by Johnny. But Koloff is just, he's got some weight on Johnny Rich, but you know the old saying goes, it's not the size of the man in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the man. And Johnny Rich has a lot of fight left in him, that's for sure. He's just got to muster up that fight, get that second win, come back and tag Tommy Rich to get in there to assault, make his own assault.
And there's an elbow that caught Johnny Rich coming off the ring ropes. And now the knee goes into the breast of Johnny Rich. The advantage with Ivan Koloff, but he's dumped off by Johnny Rich. The referee, Nick Patrick, having to keep an eagle eye here on Ivan Koloff. Koloff continues to keep Johnny Rich away from his cousin and partner, Tommy Wildfire Rich. And Koloff takes a hard right to the head. And again, both fighters only about half conscious here. Koloff misses with a right. And you call that an atomic drop.
Yeah, right, exactly. Beautiful atomic drop. Now he's got to take Tommy. He's got Koloff hurt. He's got to take Tommy while he has it. He's got to get over there. He's close to it. He's close to it. He could tag. But Koloff hasn't. He tagged. He tagged. Beautiful tag. Tommy Wildfire Rich in the ring now. Showing why he's called Wildfire. Making an assault on both men, the Irish Sheik and Ivan Koloff. Beautiful.
Well, Ivan Koloff came right over under our table. Here comes Tommy Rich. And there goes the head of Ivan Koloff into the table. And again it goes into the table as this fight is continued out here on the concrete.
Hit him with your chest, Tommy! Get his chest, Tommy! Come on, man, get it!
Johnny Rich, as you can see, we've been able to return to our chairs. A wild melee here at ringside, outside the ring, as we have blood all over this canvas.
That's it.
Ivan Koloff must really be hurting right here. Got a count of 2 that time. Tom?
I think Koloff hit his head on the ring announcer's microphone there. He looks like he has a nasty cut over that eye. And Johnny Rich, he's going to take full advantage of it, or at least he should. And Koloff is bleeding pretty badly over that eye. He looks like he might be in serious trouble right now. Johnny Rich is coming back. And look, he's working on that cut.
Ivan Koloff with a sensational move, got out of the way just in time, and now Johnny Rich is on the canvas, and he's hurt. Both fighters almost out of it. Both of their energies are spent. Johnny Rich is trying for the tag. Let's see if the Iron Sheik moves in and tries to disturb this.
It was a sign of inexperience a little bit right there when he rushed that turnbuckle. He rushed a little long, rushed too fast. Ivan moved on him. And here goes the body slam. And the Iron Sheik, that's what I'm talking about right there. The Iron Sheik pulling somebody's leg like that right there. That's the kind of things that shouldn't be allowed. The Iron Sheik and Ivan Koloff do not deserve something like that. Something like that is exactly what I'm talking about. To pull his leg, something like that. You saw it, I saw it. The referee was preoccupied with Tommy. But to pull his leg, he pulled Johnny Rich's leg, no doubt about it. I saw it. I was sitting here at ringside.
Tommy and Johnny Rich have lost this match. The fans are irritable.
Jim, the only reason I want to make one thing clear, I signed a release with the promoter here and the NWA. I signed a release. I would not interfere in any matches tonight. I would sit here at the table. I would be a guest commentator. Good. Tommy Rich is going after him now, right now. He's going to take on Koloff. Good. And get some justice done now. Tommy Rich is in the ring. He's destroying Koloff. He's fighting a cut on Koloff.
Well, they exchange right hands. Ivan Koloff is almost out of it. Koloff goes outside the ring. 3 of the 4 outside the ring right now. What a wild, bloody scrap this has been here tonight. But like it or not, the Duke of Victory goes to the team of Ivan Koloff from Russia and the Iranian, the Iron Sheik. And here's Koloff coming back with a chair. The Rich cousins, Tommy and Johnny, in the ring, inviting more battle from Ivan Koloff and the Iron Sheik. But police protection here for Koloff and the Sheik as they're being escorted to the dressing room. The fans are up in arms.
Well, you know, Jim, that's not right. It's not right, but you can't do a whole lot about it when the referee doesn't see it. There's just not a whole lot you can do about it. Not a whole lot you can really say at this point. And so Ivan Koloff and the Iron Sheik, they won, but I'm not really sure if they won.
Well, of course, the referee was not watching, and he didn't see. Of course, the fans were screaming. Referee Nick Patrick, too many corners to cover for one man. I'll have to agree with some of the people who say that when you have a tag team match, you should have 2 officials. The only thing is, Tom, there's really no place to put him.
That's exactly right. You have a crowded ring. You have 4 men in the ring as it is, and you have the referee 5, 6 men in the ring. It gets a little crowded sometimes, but you know, it's tough on the referee. It's tough on everybody when something like this happens. You know, when I sit here, I'm watching, I'm being a guest commentator, something like this happens. Like I said, I signed a paper. I'm not going to get involved tonight. I'm just here as a guest announcer, and that's it.
Well, our tag team match is over. As wild and brutal and bloody as a match as we've seen in years. Ivan Koloff and the Iron Sheik have defeated Tommy and Johnny Rich in our 4-man tag team feature tonight. Pretty good show, man. I tell you what.
Here at the Coliseum. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, this event is scheduled for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Introducing first of all at 270 pounds, the Superstar. His opponent from Indianapolis, Indiana at 225 pounds, Steve Regal. Your referee is Ron West. All right, Steve Regal coming out of his jacket, about to face the Superstar. There's the bell to open the action. And it's the Superstar opening up early here on Steve Regal, a series of forearms. Regal down on his knee momentarily. There's a knee by the Superstar, sending Regal to the canvas. Now the Superstar arm whipping Regal into the turnbuckle, but Regal from off the turnbuckle, he's going for a quick win here, but it didn't work. Superstar out of it, there's a drop kick by Regal. A standing drop kick by Regal, the Superstar down again. Regal covering a 1 count, and the Superstar powered out. And the Superstar, in disbelief, taking stock of the situation now. A bit more respect for this young man, Steve Regal. Test of strength here between Regal and the Superstar. Regal down on one knee. Regal trying to, well, he is back on his feet now. And the Superstar with a couple of shortcuts. Superstar now delivering Regal's head into the turnbuckle. Again, Regal's head meets the turnbuckle. There's a headbutt. And the Superstar now using the ropes and his boot on the neck of Regal, and the referee made him break. Again, into those ropes and choking Regal. And again, the referee made him break. Regal down, Superstar covering. Couple of counts, Regal powers out of it. Front face lock by the Superstar. Of course, the Superstar, notorious for his Cobra hold.
Koloff right now exactly what he thinks, and both of these men have been going around talking about Iran. They've been talking about Russia, the supremacy in wrestling, supremacy in all sports, and they've been talking about the American wrestlers. The American people don't have any brains, don't have any competition, any desire to get in there and win. Well, I think with Tommy and Johnny Rich, they're going to see a different light and a different story, that's for sure. Now, Tommy Rich, everybody knows his reputation. Everybody knows how hard the man has trained and fights and wrestles in that ring. Johnny Rich has been coming along. He's been wrestling a little over a year right now, and I think this should be make a tremendous team. The Russian and the Iranian have to be watched every minute, I believe, Jim, because the Iron Sheik, he'll take any advantage he can. Like I said, it's hard for me to judge and hard for me to be impartial to these men right now, because I've wrestled both of these guys. I know the way they wrestle. I know the way they act. And I hope they get what they deserve in this match, especially Koloff and the Iron Sheik. These are the two wrestlers I'd like to see most of all. Get what's coming to them. As you hear the fans behind us yelling, USA, USA, more power to them, because these men really believe that Iran and Russia are the #1 in wrestling today, and I don't think they can be farther from the truth.
Well, I think the fans are definitely on your side. As we started off with the Iron Sheik and Tommy Rich, as yet we've not had any action, because each time Tommy Rich approaches the Iron Sheik, Ivan Koloff has made his move to come into the ring. Now here's a test of strength as we get started. Tommy Wildfire Rich and the Iron Sheik, and the Sheik comes in with the hard forearm, and he returns one to the head by Tommy Rich. And a swinging headlock there, and a nice takedown by Johnny Rich. Rich goes into the ropes, bounces back off into that headlock. Ivan Koloff from Russia, the Iron Sheik from Iran, and as Tom Pritchard told you, no love lost between the fans and these two, or between Tom Pritchard and these two for that matter. A front headlock here by Tommy Rich. The Sheik with his bear hug trying to break the hold. A real test of strength as Rich goes into the ropes.
You know, Tommy's not going to be any fool. He's not going to take any chances. Right there, beautiful leapfrog. Body slam by Tommy Rich. He's going to follow with that headlock. And he tags to his cousin, Johnny Rich, who's going to come in. Beautiful move by Johnny Rich. Fantastic side headlock takeover. Now, you notice, I'm sure Tommy and Johnny have been talking in the dressing room. They're not going to take any unnecessary chances right now against these guys, the Iron Sheik and Ivan Koloff. They know they're dangerous men. They know they've got to watch their step in the ring, and Johnny is not going to take any unnecessary chances. I'm sure Tommy has clued him in. Tommy's let him know what the odds are, what they're up against, and they're gonna be very, very cautious in this match and work slowly, I'm sure. Tommy Rich is no fool by any means, and neither is Johnny, but these guys have got to be careful. They've got to watch out for Koloff. They've got to watch out for the Sheik. They will stop at nothing, and I mean nothing, to win or hurt somebody. Crisscross going on right now in the ring. The Sheik drops down. Let's see what happens here. Johnny's coming back. Beautiful sunset flip by Johnny Rich. Beautiful. He's got a 1, he's got a 2 count. But the Sheik kicks out right at the 2 count. Johnny comes up, gut shots him, goes back to that side headlock, take over, and beautiful. Johnny Rich has that headlock. You notice they have a strategy. They've had to have a strategy to come into this match, Jim. Work the head, work it, switch on and off. Johnny has a hold now, and he's gonna work it as good as he can. Probably tag out to Tommy, and beautiful switch by Johnny Rich to Tommy. I don't know if they actually tagged on that, but beautiful switch regardless. Now, if you notice, Koloff is taunting Tommy Rich to come on, and another, again, good. Beautiful switch by Johnny Rich and Tommy Rich. Beautiful switch. I think, on something like this, I think it's well-deserved, because these men are not going to stop at anything to win. Johnny Rich and Tommy Rich are doing a very, very good teaming up right now.
Well, referee Nick Patrick sure has his work cut out for him, Tom, trying to keep his eyes on both corners. A lot of shenanigans, a lot of dirty work could go on, especially from the corner of Ivan Koloff and the Iron Sheik.
Well, exactly. A lot of times people say, why don't you have two referees? But it wouldn't serve a purpose either. Beautiful hip toss. Missed on the elbow. Good deal on Johnny Rich. Got out of the way. The Iron Sheik missed on that elbow, and Johnny went right back to that side headlock. The Iron Sheik's in a little bit of trouble right now, and Johnny just better watch himself. He's holding the tights right there, as we could see on our side, but referee Nick Patrick had a little bit of trouble seeing it right there. But Johnny's holding on to that Iron Sheik, giving him problems right now, and the Iron Sheik hasn't been doing too much in this match. And if you know, he's trying to get him close to that corner, which he did. He tagged the Koloff, but Johnny goes right back to that side headlock, which is very good. And Tommy goes over to do something with the Iron Sheik.
We've got a battle royal going here, Tom. Oh, and two bald heads hit together.
Very good.
Ivan Koloff and the Iron Sheik almost out of it.
Very good. Very good move on Tommy Rich's part. Pulled Koloff in, wanted to run them together, and Johnny picked him up for a body slam on that mat. Wants to cover him, got not even a 1 count. Not even a 1 count, but went back for that side headlock. Koloff blocked him to take him over. Johnny's still fighting for it. Shoots him off. See what happens. Koloff went into that corner. Beautiful move on Johnny Rich. He moved Koloff, hit that corner with his shoulder, but Koloff came right back. This is showing the strength of the Russian. I've got to give him that. The man is strong. Ducked the elbow. Beautiful flying body press by Johnny Rich, and he gets a 1, he gets a 2 count on Ivan Koloff. He comes up, body slams. Good body slam by Johnny Rich on Ivan Koloff. Goes for the elbow. Oh my God. Might have been Johnny's mistake right there, but he's got to tag Tommy now because he's in a little bit of trouble. He's got to tag Tommy if he can. Koloff, Jesus. Beautiful. Went up for that slam. But he kicked out. He got a 2 count on Ivan Koloff, the Russian Bear. He's got to tag Tommy, and Tommy's bleeding from his mouth. He's bleeding from his chin. But he grabs that headlock. Again, a double knockout. And Johnny's got to get up from this. He's got to get up from this. Both men are in trouble, but Johnny's got to get up. You see Tommy yelling to him to get up and get over the corner to tag. Johnny's got to tag. He's in a little bit of trouble right now. He's got to tag. He's got to get up, and Koloff is in a little bit of trouble too. Johnny's to his feet first. Good drop kick by Johnny Rich. Good drop kick by Johnny Rich. Johnny's got to tag instead of cover. No. He might get it. He got a 1 count, but he might have been smarter to tag right there, Jim, because he could have been in trouble from that double knockout. And Koloff, small package by Johnny Rich. He's got him again. But no, Johnny Rich has got to get over and tag. He's in trouble right now. He's got to get over and tag. He got a boot to the chest right there by Ivan Koloff, and Johnny's in trouble.
There goes Johnny Rich into the ropes. Ivan Koloff coming back with it. Oh, and what do you call that, Tom?
It looked like a backdrop to me, you know, but it looked like Ivan Koloff had something else in mind.
And now the very fresh Iron Sheik is in, and Johnny Rich and Tommy Rich are in trouble, especially right now Johnny Rich, who's being pounded almost unmercifully by the Iron Sheik. There goes Rich into the turnbuckles.
Beautiful hip toss by the Iron Sheik. Now Johnny has got to get over and tag. Tommy's fresh, he's ready to get in that ring, but they're keeping Johnny in trouble. They're trying to keep it on him. They're trying to wear him down, which they're doing right now. Koloff started the attack, tagged the Sheik, who's been over in that corner resting, and now they're working on that back of Johnny Rich. He's got to get over. He's got to tag Wildfire to get in that ring and start an assault on his own. They're working on Johnny Rich, and I don't know, he's got to get over and tag. They're working on that back, and that Sheik is a very strong individual. He can throw those 70-pound clubs over his head. He's got to get over and tag. They're working on that back. He's got to do something to get out of the ring right now. Muster up some kind of fire, some kind of attack. Good punch on the part of Johnny Rich. Trying to go through his leg, but he's holding his tights right there. They won't let him tag. They're trying to wear him down, keep him in that ring, punish him as much as they can, and possibly hurt him. If they can hurt him, this will be all the more bullets in their belt for them. Another elbow on Johnny Rich, and the man's hurt. The man is definitely hurt. But he moved on that with a very good move, Johnny. He just got a tag now. Tag if you can. Gee.
Johnny Rich taking an unmercifully pounding here from Ivan Koloff, the Mad Russian. And there goes Rich as he bounces him into the turnbuckle.
O'Connor roll-up right there. Beautiful O'Connor roll-up for Johnny Rich. Don't tag if you can. He's going to tag Tommy if he can. But he looks like he's hurt. He might have hurt himself on that roll-up. I think he did. He might have hurt himself on that roll-up. Might have been something below the belt there. I don't know. But he just got a vicious slam in that turnbuckle. Now Koloff is going for something he's been very successful with on Georgia Wrestling. That knee in the back. Oh, but he had to settle for a double.
Another shortcut by the Superstar. That time the referee caught him pulling his trunks. Made the Superstar break. Now the Superstar arm whips Regal into the ropes. Knee to the midsection by the Superstar as he came off the ropes. Now Regal fires into the midsection again and again and again. And Regal opening up here on the Superstar. And the Superstar raking the eyes of Regal to get him back away from him. Bear hug by the Superstar. Regal trying to counter this bear hug. Pounds to the head. He forced the Superstar to break, but the Superstar caught him in the midsection there. Gets the bear hug again. Now the referee questioning Regal as to whether he wants to give it up or not. Well, Regal got out of this situation once before. Let's see if he can do it again. Ooh, Regal's back right into that turnbuckle. Snapmare by the Superstar. Superstar driving in with a knee. Lateral body press. He's going for it. Regal powers out. Front chancery now by the Superstar. Regal trying something here. Can he get out of it? Yes, sir. And he gets a hammerlock on the Superstar. And he is really applying some more pressure. So the Superstar in trouble now. More pressure being applied by Regal as he has that hammerlock with the Superstar. Comes out of it. Forearm to the back. Regal firing right back. Regal again with a hammerlock. Now sends the Superstar into the ropes. There's a drop kick, but it missed because the Superstar hung onto those ropes. A neck breaker. A Superstar with a neck breaker on Regal. Deliberately pulls Regal up, would not allow the count. He wants to punish Regal more, obviously. Clotheslined him. As Regal came off the ropes, the Superstar clotheslined him, and now he's got that devastating Cobra hold applied to Steve Regal. He's got the Cobra on Regal. Regal's trying his best to break it. Regal firing into the midsection of the Superstar. But Regal weakening. More and more has been taken out of Regal here as more pressure is applied with the Cobra hold. A Superstar has weakened Regal down here. Regal still trying to get out of it. Superstar takes him back to the canvas with it, still applying that Cobra. Regal's shoulders down for the count of 3, and it's all over. Well, Steve Regal put up a gallant effort in trying to get out of that Cobra. But the match is all over. Now the referee trying to force the Superstar to break that hold. Finally, he breaks the hold.
This special event of the evening be one fall, 45-minute time limit. Introducing at 225 pounds from Tampa, Florida, Buzz Sawyer. His opponent from Mission, Texas, at 234 pounds, Tito Santana. Your referee is Nick Patrick.
Well, the fans shouting their displeasure as Buzz Sawyer from Tampa, the big 233-pounder, is introduced, because he'll be going against the very popular Tito Santana at 234 pounds, the veteran from out of Mission, Texas. What a bit of disagreement in the ring right now between Santana and Sawyer. Sawyer mouths off and Santana draws back his right fist. Referee Nick Patrick says, "Let's wrestle." Referee Nick Patrick cautioning both wrestlers to keep their fists open. Santana a bit disturbed over the language being used by Buzz Sawyer. Santana the favorite here tonight, at least sentimentally. Not too many friends in the arena for Buzz Sawyer. And of course, Sawyer, a very ring-wise, who's won many a match in this ring. In the corner now, trying to lure Tito Santana into his lair. Now Santana says, "Come on, let's fight in mid-ring." Santana moves in, and just as quickly, Sawyer retreats to the corner. Oh, here's is it going to be a body slam or not? It is. Buzz Sawyer goes down hard. Tito Santana comes down hard with the foot across the back of Buzz Sawyer as referee Nick Patrick tries to keep Santana away. Sawyer doesn't much want to get up. He took quite a slam there from Tito Santana. Well, the fans now jeering and sending up the old raspberry to Sawyer. Buzz on his bicycle now as both wrestlers circle each other in center ring. Flying mare takedown on Tito Santana. Buzz Sawyer belches back a laugh. And here's a body slam on Santana, and he hit hard. We thought the ring was going to explode there. Sawyer's getting his jollies over there, strutting around the ring like a big rooster. Santana now trying to regain his composure. Sawyer screams at the fans behind us here at ringside. He's taking his share of the raspberries from the fans. Tito Santana.
Anybody, Tito? Come back out here and say you have 3 more to get you. Hey, Tito! Get a referee! That's hell.
This main event of the evening, 4-man tag team match. Introducing from parts unknown, at 270 pounds, the Superstar. His team partner, also from parts unknown, 272 pounds, the Super Destroyer. Their opponents from Tampa, Florida, 234 pounds, Paul Orndorff. His team partner from Nashville, Tennessee, 230 pounds, Tommy Rich. Paul Orndorff is the national heavyweight champion.
The Superstar and the Super Destroyer, both at 270 pounds, taking on the very popular combination of Tommy Wildfire Rich from Nashville, Tennessee, and national heavyweight champion Paul Orndorff from Tampa, Florida. A very important tag team match, long anticipated by the fans, anxiously awaited, and it's underway. As Super D is in there now with Paul Orndorff. A headlock here by the Destroyer, and a reverse into a standing wrist lock by Paul Orndorff. A matchup of strength here. Orndorff applying more leverage with that standing wrist lock. And here comes Orndorff. What a match here, and a fine flying mare by Paul Orndorff. Orndorff, the national heavyweight champion, with a very punishing arm bar here. And here comes Tommy Wildfire Rich as he tags in with a twisting wrist lock. on the Super Destroyer. Tagging out is Rich. Coming in is Orndorff. Applying more pressure here. Twisting wrist lock. A combination of an arm bar. And again, Orndorff twists on that wrist lock. Tags out. In comes Rich. A hard right to the midsection and continuing to apply leverage on the left arm of the Super Destroyer. And so far we've seen no action from the Superstar, as the Super Destroyers had to take all of the punishment here, first from Orndorff and then from Tommy Rich. Still more pressure on that arm bar and wrist lock of Tommy Wildfire Rich is applied to the Super Destroyer. All the weight advantage with the masked men here tonight. Referee Nick Patrick chases the Superstar out, but he tags back in. And now it's the Superstar against Tommy Rich, and he's got a headlock, and now Rich with the reverse. Tommy Rich, much to the delight of those here at ringside, has the upper hand here on the Superstar. Superstar pushes Rich into the ropes, but tagging in is Orndorff. There's a lot of pain going into that left arm of the Superstar. Again, the standing wrist lock on the Superstar by Orndorff. And the very popular Orndorff, the national heavyweight champion, sends the Superstar to the mat on his face. A reverse wrist lock. The Superstar's in trouble here. Referee Nick Patrick making the Superstar release the hair of Paul Orndorff.
Watch it, Paul, watch him. Watch it, Paul, watch him.
Again, Nick Patrick, the referee, has to caution and admonish the Superstar. A headlock here by Orndorff. Punishing, twisting headlock. Superstar is playing with the trunks of Paul Orndorff outside the vision of Nick Patrick. The fans, of course, like to let Patrick know when this happens. Patrick, however, not the swiftest of foot. And here comes Tommy Rich. Rich sends a foot hard into the midsection of the Superstar. A headlock by Rich. Tommy Rich, another favorite with the fans here. Tommy Rich with a nice escape there. The headlock and a nice takedown on the Superstar. And referee Nick Patrick's getting himself caught up in the melee there. He'll not be able to see anything. Patrick kicks out. Continues to admonish the Superstar. Superstar has a handful of hair. Superstar trying to keep Tommy Rich, and he did. He kicked him out the ring. He was trying to keep him pinned against the ropes in case he had the opportunity to tag out to the Super Destroyer. Now Paul Orndorff comes around to give his buddy Tommy Rich a little help there. Rich took a mean spill outside the ring onto the concrete. Super D sends a foot into the hit of Tommy Rich. And now the Superstar putting a lot of pressure on the neck of Tommy Rich. Rich goes off on the concrete once again. Super Destroyer outside the ring sends a hard right to the head. Orndorff's in pursuit. Orndorff's after Super D. Now Superstar and Super D are outside the ring. And the Superstar butts Tommy Rich outside the ring. And Tommy Rich, outside the ring and outside the vision of referee Neil Patrick, is in some kind of difficulty right now. He's taking quite a bit of pummeling there from the feet of the Superstar. Tommy Rich, we can't see from here, but must still be, no, there he is, trying to get back in the ring. Super Destroyer sends a foot hard to the midsection. Tommy Rich is really in difficulty. Rich goes down. He may be out. Sawyer sends up a knee hard into the midsection and a hard right to the head. Again, that forearm. Santana, levered against the top strand of the ring ropes, breaks loose. Oh, there's a body slam. And Buzz Sawyer hit hard. He's coming up slow. Santana quick with the foot into the back of Sawyer, pulling him now into the center ring. Oh, the atomic drop comes down hard. And Buzz Sawyer, well, you saw the reaction. He ricocheted into the middle strand of the ring ropes. Takes a couple of hard feet. Hard kicks to the leg. Santana pulling him down into the center of the ring. Oh, Santana, with all 234 pounds, dropping into the left leg of Sawyer. And springs one again, and Buzz Sawyer's hurting on that left leg. Step over toe hold by Santana, but Sawyer pulls him down with a hair. That's unorthodox. Again, the step over toe hold. Now a lot of pressure being applied by Santana. Buzz Sawyer's in a bit of agony right now. The advantage definitely with Santana. Referee Nick Patrick looking in, asking Sawyer if he'll submit. More pressure by Tito Santana. Sawyer's hurting, you can see that. Sawyer, look at that face. The countenance of agony here, trying to break that hold on his foot. A mean toe hold being applied by Tito. Tito bringing that 234 pounds down hard, applying that pressure. A lot of leverage there from a very big guy. Both of these wrestlers, well honed in muscles. Well, they take good care of themselves, you can see that. Especially the fine physique of Tito Santana. Easily the sentimental favorite of the fans here. Sawyer trying to come up with a handful of Santana's hair, and he scrapes that foot. He scrapes that hand across the eyes of Santana, breaks the hold, and comes down hard with the forearm to the head of Tito. A chop to the throat. Santana drops to one knee. A hard forearm to the head again. Santana quite stunned as he takes another forearm to the head. And Buzz Sawyer's happy, as you can see. Sawyer with a headlock. Santana picks him up, drops him. Comes down hard on that left foot. All the pressure went to the knee. Broke the hold. A step over, twisting toe hold. And a body drop, and Buzz Sawyer is in trouble. This will be indeed a very difficult hold to break. He got some help from Nick Patrick. Santana's mad now. The fans are happy. That left leg of Buzz Sawyer taking quite a pounding. Sawyer pleading for mercy as Santana comes down hard with the boot. Again on that knee, and drives a knee hard into the leg of Buzz Sawyer. A toe hold again, and Buzz Sawyer is in more than just a little difficulty. Nick Patrick trying to break Sawyer's hold on a lock of hair of Tito Santana. Referee Nick Patrick asking Sawyer over and over again, will you submit? Sawyer's in agony, but he refuses to give up. Pulling the hair, slapping, kicking, and he got one across the ear of Tito Santana that time. That broke up the old hold. Sawyer sending Santana over the top strand of the ring ropes. We couldn't see from here, but it looked as though he was rubbing his fist into the eyes of Santana, and Santana is down and in difficulty. It's Patrick, the referee, backs Sawyer up. Sawyer moving in once again. A flying mare sends Santana to his back. Here's out, and he missed with a knee drop. Sawyer missed with the knee drop, and Santana up with that twisting step over toe hold. Buzz Sawyer's in trouble now. Once again, that left leg must indeed be hurting Buzz Sawyer. It's taken quite a pounding here tonight. Referee Nick Patrick looking in, asking Sawyer if he'll scream calf rope. Patrick continues to ask Sawyer if he'll submit. Sawyer trying to get that right foot up to kick off on Santana. Santana putting more leverage on that step over toe hold. Again, Sawyer reverts to the hair pulling tactics. Patrick has to pull his hands off. There's the step over again. And he pulled the trunks. That should have broken the hold, and it did. Santana pulling Sawyer back into the center of the ring. There's a kickoff by Sawyer. And Sawyer butts Santana outside the ring. That gives Buzz Sawyer a chance to do some breathing here. The Sawyer's taken quite a whipping here the last 5 minutes. He needs all the rest he can get. Now Sawyer coming out of the ring. Buzz Sawyer walking behind our microphone, trying to get to Tito Santana, who is still somewhat stunned. A hard forearm to the back as the fight continues outside the ring ropes, out on the concrete. Sawyer being counted back into the ring now by referee Nick Patrick. Sawyer has a chair. Patrick trying to restrain him, and Santana comes up with a couple of hard forearms. Both wrestlers back into the ring. Sawyer retreats, pleads for mercy. The fans scream, "Get him!" Santana moving in with clenched fist. Sends a foot hard to the midsection and a forearm to the head. The headlock scissors onto the head of Buzz Sawyer, and it comes down hard. And that rung the bell of Buzz Sawyer. A hard forearm uppercut combination. Sawyer's into the ropes. Takes a hard right to the solar plexus from Tito Santana. Santana drives a knee to the head. A mean headlock by Santana. A nice takedown. Time is of the essence now as Nick Patrick gets an account of 1 on Sawyer before he manages to move that right shoulder up off the mat. Tito Santana says, "Ask him now." Nick Patrick asks Buzz Sawyer, "Will you submit?" Of course, the answer is no. More pressure being applied as Tito Santana's big muscle moves in hard on the neck of Buzz Sawyer. A mean headlock here by Tito Santana. And of course, this does give Tito Santana somewhat of a breather. Sawyer trying to figure out a way to break the hold. Again pulls the hair of Tito. Slowly, Santana pulls Sawyer to his feet. Now Sawyer pulling the hair outside the view of Nick Patrick. Santana with hard forearms to the head and chest of Buzz Sawyer. Sawyer is in much pain right now. There's a reverse, that it's Santana trying to make the catch. He didn't. He came down hard on his right wrist. He may be in trouble. Nick Patrick, a count of 2, a count of 3. Buzz Sawyer has defeated Tito Santana. Throughout the entire match, it appeared that everything was going well for Tito Santana. But at the last second, Buzz Sawyer came up with the Duke of Victory. And the fans say that he pulled both the hair and the trunks of Santana. Nick Patrick now admonishing Sawyer. Sawyer simply laughs and heads for the dressing room. Santana protesting vigorously in the ring, as are the fans here at ringside. But as usual, nothing will happen. Nick Patrick did not see the infraction. Santana's coming outside the ring now. He has a chair. Buzz Sawyer heads for the dressing room. The fans don't like it, but nevertheless it will stand official as Buzz Sawyer has defeated. This may be all. Super D turns him over, puts a foot hard into the neck, comes down with 272 pounds, and Rich kicks out. Where he found the energy, we'll never know. Rich dragged to his feet. There goes Rich into the turnbuckles. Against the foot, the extended foot of the Superstar. And Superstar checks in. Super D has to leave. And Tommy Rich remains in difficulty. Tommy Rich coming alive now. Trying to reach Paul Orndorff. Can't do it, goes down hard. Takes a hard forearm to the midsection. Sends up a foot into the midsection of the Super Destroyer. The Superstar's hurt. Tommy Rich is hurt. Orndorff being admonished here by Nick Patrick. Tommy Rich trying to hold on, manages to reach the outstretched hands of Paul Orndorff, who's mad. The fans come alive. Paul Orndorff. Here's a body slam on Superstar, and he comes down hard with the knee across the head. And the Superstar is hurting as he goes into the ring. Takes a hard right to the midsection. Paul Orndorff. Now Orndorff is caught by Super D. Takes a hard double chop across the back of the neck. A hard right to the head, and Orndorff is about half out of it. On the mat, Super D checks in. Referee Nick Patrick, of course, having all he can take here, trying to keep up with 4 wrestlers. Almost impossible for him to see the illegal tactics being used by the Superstar and the Super Destroyer. Super D comes down with a hard right to the head of Paul Orndorff. Orndorff manages to kick out after a count of 2. Reverse headlock here by Super D. And Orndorff may be in the grasp of a submission hold. Getting relatively quiet here. Fans trying to anticipate Paul Orndorff's next move, if he can move. This reverse headlock here by Super D has him in some kind of trouble. We can't see from here, his back's to us, but it looks to be his own form and style, perhaps, of a sleeper hold, and it is. There goes the hand, down once, down twice. No, he managed to hold it back up. Paul Orndorff trying to break the hold, and he does with an arm drag, but he cannot reach the outstretched hands of Tommy Wildfire Rich and both Super D and the Superstar teaming up here on Paul Orndorff. Orndorff's going into the ropes. Takes a hard right to the solar plexus as he comes off. The Superstar tries for a... Tommy Rich might have saved the entire night there for he and his partner, Paul Orndorff. And Paul Orndorff remains in difficulty. Over in the blue corner. There goes Paul into the ropes. Takes a hard right to the midsection coming off. And a headbutt. Just about has all the wind out of Orndorff, a count of 2. But just at the last second, Orndorff managed to extend his foot over the lower strand of the ring ropes, and they have to start it all over again. There's a hard right to the midsection by Super D. A leg lift into the midsection. And Orndorff's tummy is going to be sore tomorrow. He continues to take a pummeling. Now Orndorff's coming alive. This may be all. Orndorff's strength has got to just about be wilted. Superstar tags in. As referee Nick Patrick tries to separate the Super Destroyer and Orndorff as the Superstar continues to pummel with his feet the very bruised midsection of Paul Orndorff, the national heavyweight champion from Tampa, Florida. The count's 2, not quite, as Orndorff kicks off at the last second. It was a second away from being all over. Again, a count of 2. And again, Orndorff kicks out. The fans now beginning to get impatient. They want to see Tommy Rich in the ring. Their favorites have been taking a pummeling here for the last 7 or 8 minutes. Well, it's a double claw hold on the midsection of Paul Orndorff by the Superstar. Now he had to let go. Orndorff got a knee up into the face of the Superstar, but Orndorff is taking quite a beating in the midsection. He may not be able to stand this much longer. There's the extended foot of Super D slamming into the middle of Paul Orndorff. Super D checks in. Superstar taking a bit of admonishing from referee Nick Patrick as Orndorff goes into the ropes. Oh! There's a reverse by Orndorff for a count of 2. Flying drop kick by Orndorff, who tags out. Listen at the fans. Tommy Rich is mad. He's taking on both the Superstar and the Super Destroyer. And now we have a complete free-for-all as Orndorff and Rich continue to clean up on Super D and the Superstar. But now it's reversed. All 4 wrestlers on the mat. Count of 2, count of 3, and that's all. Tommy Rich managed to get the pin on the Super Destroyer. And listen at the fans. They like this as Paul Orndorff, the national heavyweight champion, and his partner Tommy Rich have won our tag team feature over the very unpopular but very talented pair of the Superstar and the Super Destroyer. Well, Super D and Superstar continuing to lick their wounds as the winning team, Orndorff and Rich, have since left the ring. It's all over here. The fans starting to file out now, sending out the old raspberries to Super D and the Superstar. What a match it was. And to the winners, Tommy Rich and Paul Orndorff over the Superstar and the Super Destroyer.
Tag up with somebody so stupid, dumbass. This ain't no time to chance to make it. Go home, boys. Hey, where's the brother Bill? Hey, Scott. Go home, boys.
referee Nick Patrick sure has his work cut out for him, Tom, trying to keep his eyes on both corners. A lot of shenanigans, a lot of dirty work could go on, especially from the corner of Ivan Koloff and the Iron Sheik.
Well, exactly. A lot of times people say, why don't you have two referees? But it wouldn't serve a purpose either. Beautiful hip toss. Missed on the elbow. Good deal on Johnny Rich. Got out of the way. The Iron Sheik missed on that elbow, and Johnny went right back to that side headlock. The Iron Sheik's in a little bit of trouble right now, and Johnny just better watch himself. He's holding the tights right there, as we could see on our side, but referee Nick Patrick had a little bit of trouble seeing it right there. But Johnny's holding on to that Iron Sheik, giving him problems right now, and the Iron Sheik hasn't been doing too much in this match. And if you know, he's trying to get him close to that corner, which he did. He tagged the Koloff, but Johnny goes right back to that side headlock, which is very good. And Tommy goes over to do something with the Iron Sheik.
We've got a battle royal going here, Tom. Oh, and two bald heads hit together.
Very good.
Ivan Koloff and the Iron Sheik almost out of it.
Very good. Very good move on Tommy Rich's part. Pulled Koloff in, wanted to run them together, and Johnny picked him up for a body slam on that mat. Wants to cover him, got not even a 1 count. Not even a 1 count. But went back for that side headlock. Koloff blocked him to take him over. Johnny's still fighting for it. Shoots him off. See what happens. Koloff went into that corner. Beautiful move on Johnny Rich. He moved Koloff, hit that corner with his shoulder, but Koloff came right back. This is showing the strength of the Russian. I've got to give him that. The man is strong. Ducked the elbow. Beautiful flying body press by Johnny Rich, and he gets a 1, he gets a 2 count on Ivan Koloff. He comes up, body slams. Good body slam by Johnny Rich on Ivan Koloff. Goes for the elbow. Oh my God. Might have been Johnny's mistake right there, but he's got to tag Tommy now because he's in a little bit of trouble. He's got to tag Tommy if he can. But Koloff, Jesus. Beautiful. Went up for that slam. But he kicked out. He got a 2 count on Ivan Koloff, the Russian Bear. He's got to tag Tommy, and Tommy's bleeding from his mouth. He's bleeding from his chin. But he grabs that headlock. Again, a double knockout. And Johnny's got to get up from this. He's got to get up from this. Both men are in trouble, but Johnny's got to get up. You see Tommy yelling to him to get up and get over the corner to tag. Johnny's got to tag. He's in a little bit of trouble right now. He's got to tag. He's got to get up, and Koloff is in a little bit of trouble too. Johnny's to his feet first. Good drop kick by Johnny Rich. Good drop kick by Johnny Rich. Johnny's got to tag instead of cover. No. He might get it. He got a 1 count, but he might have been smarter to tag right there, Jim, because he could have been in trouble from that double knockout. And Koloff, small package by Johnny Rich. He's got him again. But no, Johnny Rich has got to get over and tag. He's in trouble right now. He's got to get over and tag. He got a boot to the chest right there by Ivan Koloff, and Johnny's in trouble.
There goes Johnny Rich into the ropes. Ivan Koloff coming back with it. Oh, and what do you call that, Tom?
It looked like a backdrop to me, you know, but it looked like Ivan Koloff had something else in mind.
And now the very fresh Iron Sheik is in, and Johnny Rich and Tommy Rich are in trouble, especially right now Johnny Rich, who's being pounded almost unmercifully by the Iron Sheik. There goes Rich into the turnbuckles.
Beautiful hip toss by the Iron Sheik. Now Johnny has got to get over and tag. Tommy's fresh, he's ready to get in that ring, but they're keeping Johnny in trouble. They're trying to keep it on him. They're trying to wear him down, which they're doing right now. Koloff started the attack, tagged the Sheik, who's been over in that corner resting, and now they're working on that back of Johnny Rich. He's got to get over. He's got to tag Wildfire to get in that ring and start an assault on his own. They're working on Johnny Rich, and I don't know, he's got to get over and tag. They're working on that back, and that Sheik is a very strong individual. He can throw those 70-pound clubs over his head. He's got to get over and tag. They're working on that back. He's got to do something to get out of the ring right now. Muster up some kind of fire, some kind of attack. Good punch on the part of Johnny Rich. Trying to go through his leg, but he's holding his tights right there. They won't let him tag. They're trying to wear him down, keep him in that ring, punish him as much as they can, and possibly hurt him. If they can hurt him, this will be all the more bullets in their belt for them. Another elbow on Johnny Rich. And the man's hurt. The man is definitely hurt. But he moved on that with a very good move, Johnny. He just got a tag now. Tag if you can. Jeez.
Johnny Rich taking an unmercifully pounding here from Ivan Koloff, the Mad Russian. And there goes Rich as he bounces him into the turnbuckle.
O'Connor roll-up right there. Beautiful O'Connor roll-up for Johnny Rich. Don't tag if he can. He's going to tag Tommy if he can. But he looks like he's hurt. He might have hurt himself on that roll-up. I think he did. He might have hurt himself on that roll-up. Might have been something below the belt there. I don't know. But he just got a vicious slam in that turnbuckle. Now Koloff is going for something he's been very successful with on Georgia Wrestling. That knee in the back. Oh, but he had to settle for a double chop on the back of his back there. This could be it. This could be it, Jim, right there. But it's not. Good. Only a 2 count. Only a 2 count for the Russian Bear. Now Johnny has got to tag. He could make it. No. Rip across the eyes. Johnny Rich is in some serious trouble right now. They're working on that back. They know they've got him hurt. They know they've got him stunned, but he's not gonna be content to just lay there. He's gonna fight back. He's got that fighting spirit in him. He's gonna kick. He's gonna punch. He can do anything he can to fight back. Good punch by Johnny Rich. Good punch. And another forearm. Beautiful forearm by Johnny. But Koloff is just, he's got some weight on Johnny Rich, but you know the old saying goes, it's not the size of the man in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the man. And Johnny Rich has a lot of fight left in him, that's for sure. He's just got to muster up that fight, get that second win, come back and tag Tommy Rich to get in there to assault, make his own assault.
And there's an elbow that caught Johnny Rich coming off the ring ropes. And now the knee goes into the breast of Johnny Rich. The advantage with Ivan Koloff, but he's dumped off by Johnny Rich. The referee, Nick Patrick, having to keep an eagle eye here on Ivan Koloff. Koloff continues to keep Johnny Rich away from his cousin and partner, Tommy Wildfire Rich. And Koloff takes a hard right to the head. And again, both fighters only about half conscious here. Koloff misses with the right. And there's, you call that an atomic drop.
Yeah, right, exactly. Beautiful atomic drop. Now he's got to take Tommy. He's got Koloff hurt. He's got to take Tommy while he has it. He's got to get over there. He's close to it. He's close to it. He could take. But Koloff has his, he tagged. He tagged. Beautiful tag. Tommy Wildfire Rich in the ring now. Showing why he's called Wildfire. Making an assault on both men, the Iron Sheik and Ivan Koloff. Beautiful.
Well, Ivan Koloff came right over under our table. Here comes Tommy Rich. And there goes the head of Ivan Koloff into the table. And again it goes into the table as this fight is continued out here on the concrete.
Here with it, yes, Tommy! You asshole! Get it, yes, Tommy! Get it, Tommy! Come back here!
Johnny Rich, as you can see, we've been able to return to our chairs. A wild melee here at ringside, outside the ring, as we have blood all over this canvas.
That's it.
Ivan Koloff must really be hurting right here. Got a count of 2 that time. Tom?
I think Koloff hit his head on the ring announcer's microphone there. He looks like he has a nasty cut over that eye. And Johnny Rich, he's going to take full advantage of it, or at least he should. And Koloff is bleeding pretty badly over that eye. He looks like he might be in serious trouble right now. Johnny Rich is coming back. And look, he's working on that cut.
Ivan Koloff with a sensational move, got out of the way just in time, and now Johnny Rich is on the canvas, and he's hurt. Both fighters almost out of it. Both of their energies are spent. Johnny Rich is trying for the tag. Let's see if the Iron Sheik moves in and tries to disturb this.
It was a sign of inexperience a little bit right there when he rushed that turnbuckle. He rushed a little long, rushed too fast. Ivan moved on him. And here goes a body slam. And the Iron Sheik, that's what I'm talking about right there. The Iron Sheik pulling somebody's leg like that right there. That's the kind of things that shouldn't be allowed. The Iron Sheik and Ivan Koloff do not deserve something like that. Something like that is exactly what I'm talking about. To pull his leg, something like that. You saw it, I saw it. The referee was preoccupied with Tommy. But to pull his leg, he pulled Johnny Rich's leg, no doubt about it. I saw it. I was sitting here at ringside.
Tommy and Johnny Rich have lost this match. The fans are irritable.
Jim, the only reason I want to make one thing clear, I signed a release with the promoter here and the NWA. I signed a release. I would not interfere in any matches tonight. I would sit here at the table. I would be a guest commentator. Good. Tommy Rich is going
there and beat you for that belt. The only thing I'm not bragging about beating Ric Flair, the only thing that I'm saying that he can be beat. And right here in Columbus, Georgia, the people's wanted it. I've got letters from all over Georgia, phone calls, everything. People want to know when are they going to get Ric Flair here and when are they going to get Paul Orndorff against him. Well, you've got it. Sunday, October the 3rd, I'll be wrestling this man. You know, he's held the world's belt now for quite a while. I'm coming after it, and I'm going to do what I have to do to take that belt from him.
Ivan Koloff is known as the Russian Bear. He will be in action on Sunday afternoon, October the 3rd, 2:30 p.m. at the Columbus Municipal Auditorium against Brad Armstrong. Terry Gordy against the Iron Sheik. Roddy Piper in an interesting special event against the Super Destroyer. It's going to be Nature Boy Ric Flair defending his coveted World Heavyweight Championship against Paul Orndorff. And in tag team action, Abdullah the Butcher teaming with Buzz Sawyer to take on the Rich Cousins, Johnny Rich and Wildfire Tommy Rich.
You know what it amounts to? Last week in Columbus, Georgia, you know, I had Super D. I had him beat. Had the sleeper hooked on him. He was going out. Seemed like every damn time that I turned around, Buzz Sawyer's behind my back doing something, and I'm sick and tired of it. So I said, give me Sawyer once and for all. Sawyer didn't have the guts for a single. You know, just like I said, right now, Sawyer, anytime, anywhere, any place. And it's happening right here in Columbus, Georgia. You know, you went out, yeah, you think you got you Abdullah the Butcher. I've seen him eat raw fish. I've seen him do it all, brother. But you ain't got nothing. Because just like I told you before, Sawyer, a country boy can't survive. Columbus, Georgia, I'm bringing Johnny. Yeah, you know, he might come out here and say, Johnny ain't got the experience. Johnny ain't ready. Johnny's got the heart. He's got the desire. And when it's all over, we're going to whip you, and I don't care. If we have to fight up in the buildings, that's exactly what we're going to do. You know, because I'm fed up to here, man. I can't take it no more. Just like I said, Super D, I had him beat, and, you know, just like I said, I want a shot at Ric Flair. He cost me that. Every time he's a thorn in my side. Columbus, Georgia, you're going to get it.
Got two different matches to talk about.
Just hang on a minute, Mr. Carlisle. I got one thing to say to Mr. Roddy Piper, the man that comes out here and looks like he got ants in his pants, likes to move the furniture around. Roddy Piper, you're wrestling the best when the National Wrestling Champion. And one thing for sure, you're going down to defeat. 1, 2, 3.
And Buzz Sawyer going to be...
You don't have to tell the people who I am. They know who Buzz Sawyer is right here. You know it really makes me really funny inside my heart and my mind and everything else. Tommy Rich gets out here and says, oh, Buzz Sawyer, you cost me the national championship. You cost me the world's title. You cost me my life. Oh, boy, 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 boy. Always crying. You people know as well as I did, I never once came down in the ring. Tommy Rich got beat by himself. 1, 2, 3. And yeah, you want to wrestle me? I'm not going to wrestle you. You're a crazy idiot fool. So you went and you got your little teeny cousin, Johnny Rich. Well, I got the baddest, the meanest man in the world today, Abdullah the Butcher. A little bit of salt and pepper there, the biggest piece of pepper I can find. And when we're done with you, I'm going to take that Tommy Rich, I'm going to tear him in two, I'm going to stick his brother on top of him and make a hacksaw out of him. Because, oh, Buzz, I'm sick and I'm tired of you always jumping on me. You're a thorn in my side. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Tommy Rich. I'm going to eliminate the thorn because I'm going to eliminate your side. So
introducing first, ladies and gentlemen, on my left from Phoenix, Arizona, weighing 240 pounds, has just returned from a successful wrestling tour in Japan. We introduce to you now Eddie.
Now, right now, he's going to take on Koloff. Good. And gets some justice done now. Tommy Rich is in the ring. He's destroying Koloff. He's fighting a cut on Koloff.
Well, they exchange right hands. Ivan Koloff is almost out of it. Koloff goes outside the ring. 3 of the 4 outside the ring right now. What a wild, bloody scrap this has been here tonight. But like it or not, the Duke of Victory goes to the team of Ivan Koloff from Russia and the Iranian, the Iron Sheik. And here's Koloff coming back with a chair. The Rich cousins, Tommy and Johnny, in the ring, inviting more battle from Ivan Koloff and the Iron Sheik. But police protection here for Koloff and the Sheik as they're being escorted to the dressing room. The fans are up in arms.
Well, you know, Jim, that's not right. It's not right, but you can't do a whole lot about it when the referee doesn't see it. There's just not a whole lot you can do about it. Not a whole lot you can really say at this point. It's Ivan Koloff and the Iron Sheik. They won, but I'm not really sure if they won.
Well, of course, the referee was not watching, and he didn't see. Of course, the fans were screaming. Referee Nick Patrick, too many corners to cover for one man. I'll have to agree with some of the people who say that when you have a tag team match, you should have 2 officials. The only thing is, Tom, there's really no place to put him.
That's exactly right. You have a crowded ring. You have 4 men in the ring as it is, and you have the referee 5 to 6 men in the ring. It gets a little crowded sometimes, but you know, it's tough on the referee. It's tough on everybody when something like this happens. You know, when I sit here, I'm watching, I'm being guest commentator, something like this happens. Like I said, I signed a paper. I'm not going to get involved tonight. I'm just here as a guest announcer, and that's it.
Well, our tag team match is over. As wild and brutal and bloody as a match as we've seen in years. Ivan Koloff and the Iron Sheik have defeated Tommy and Johnny Rich in our 4-man tag team feature tonight. Of course, the fans were screaming. Referee Nick Patrick, too many corners to cover for one man. I'll have to agree with some of the people who say that when you have a tag team match, you should have 2 officials. The only thing is, Tom, there's really no place to put him.
How many? 444? It's easy to remember.
Talk about an important night. Mark it down on your calendar, folks. Friday night, October the 1st, Macon Coliseum, national title match. Super Destroyer, champion against Tommy Rich. Bounty Hunter against Roddy Piper, a match that very much interests me. Buzz Sawyer against Paul Orndorff. Matt Bourne against Brad Armstrong. And in tag team action, these 2 men right here taking on the Iron Sheik and Ivan Koloff. Of course, I'm talking about Terry Gordy and Tito Santana.
You know, we wanted the Samoans. They wouldn't give us a title match because they said we hadn't beaten anybody. Michael Hayes is out of wrestling because of the Samoans, and now we have to step in the ring with a Russian and an Iranian. Well, nobody in America likes Russians. And the Iranian, we haven't forgotten those 444 days, brother. And if we have to beat you guys to get a title match, we're going to go out there and beat you. You know, Ivan Koloff stands out here and he says, we're going to make an example of these 2. Well, when we step in the ring, brother, we're going to find out who's going to be making the example of who. We're going to go out there to beat you and hurt you if that's what it takes.
You got a big partner here in Terry.
Just like he said, baby, no good for nothing's good enough for us. And that's what we're up against, no good for nothing. And we're coming after you, baby, because we know how to come after somebody. You know, it's like this. You always hear them talking and knocking the USA. Well, if you've got so much against the USA, what are you doing over here? And if you like Iran and Russia so much, why don't you get your tails back over there where you belong, baby? Because we don't need you over here anyway. But that's beside the point, baby. We're coming after you. You're here. We're here. We're all going to be in Macon, Georgia, and we're going to meet right in the center of the ring. And may God bless you because, baby, we're coming after you 110%. And we're going to show you what the United States is all about.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, and the best of luck to the both of you. Talk about an exciting program. We've certainly had it. A lot of exciting matches, and talk about an exciting card. We have that for you coming up on Friday night, October the 1st, to the Macon Coliseum. We would like to urge you again at this point to get your tickets in advance. Save 50 cents. When the Super Destroyer defends his national title against Tommy Rich. Your comments about that in just a moment. Let me again remind the people, also that night, the Bounty Hunter against Roddy Piper, Buzz Sawyer against Paul Orndorff, the Sheik and Ivan Koloff against Terry Gordy, Tito Santana, Matt Bourne against Brad Armstrong. But what about your title defense against Tommy Rich?
That's what I would like to know. What about it? The people, you know, I thought in America things are supposed to be equal. Everybody's supposed to have an equal opportunity at everything. But it seems here in Macon, Georgia, things kind of shift over and get weighted down on Tommy Rich's side, the good old boy, the boy from Tennessee. Why? When he was champion, I had my contract out there right up in front. Did Tommy Rich ever sign a contract for this belt for me to wrestle? No. When he was NWA heavyweight champion, I had another contract out there in front of him for him to wrestle me. Did he wrestle me? No. So I become champion, and I says, there's two people I do not want to wrestle. That's Tommy Rich and Paul Orndorff. What happens? The first time I come to Macon, Georgia, as a champion, I got to wrestle Tommy Rich. Why? Because Tommy Rich is the local good boy, the local hero, the boy from Tennessee. So he goes to the NWA, and the local promotion says, I want to wrestle the Super Destroyer for the championship. They says, Tommy, you're a good boy. We'll let you wrestle the Super Destroyer for the championship. I said, I don't want to wrestle him. I don't have to. There's other people more deserving than him. The Iron Sheik, Buzz Sawyer, a lot of different people. But they say I have to wrestle Tommy Rich.
Folks, just a reminder here in closing, next week our program will be seen the same time as today. Until then, Jim Carlisle, so long. Hello, everyone. Jim Carlisle here, and this week again, welcome to Championship Wrestling. Glad you could join us at this time, and let me just say that next week we do return to our regular starting time of 4 o'clock. Join us at that time, but now that you've joined us this time, stay tuned because we have a lot of exciting action and a lot of messages, interviews, and so forth regarding a tremendous wrestling card coming up on Sunday afternoon, October the 3rd, at the Columbus Municipal Auditorium, and that'll be at 2:30 in the afternoon. And folks, believe me, from the opening match right on through the main event, it is tremendous. The opening match could be a main event anywhere. The Iron Sheik from Iran going up against the Freebird Terry Gordy. It'll be the Russian Bear Ivan Koloff against Brad Armstrong. Special event, the Super Destroyer against Roddy Piper. In tag team action, listen to this. The wild man from the Sudan, Abdullah the Butcher, teaming with Buzz Sawyer to take on Tommy Rich and Johnny Rich. And listen to this. And I want to call in Paul Orndorff here now because all-important world title match. Nature Boy Ric Flair defending that coveted title against Paul Orndorff.
That's right. You know, you mentioned the date, October the 3rd, Sunday afternoon. I'm wrestling the world's champion. Well, I tell you what, Ric Flair, if you remember, August 26, 1981, Charlotte, North Carolina, for the U.S. belt.